What is going on in the now world? My name is Tom. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying, flyest looking team on YouTube. And we are here with our round one battle of MMDL playoffs against the San Jose Sharpedos and Coach RagerBonsai. This is going to be an amazing match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are about to hop into this team matchup breakdown for our first round of playoffs against RagerBonsai and the San Jose Sharpedo for the MMDL. This is going to be a really tough match. He's got a really scary team, but I think we have a good squad to take him on. His first mon is Tornadus-Therian, obviously one of the best mons in the format. It's incredibly scary. A pure flying type at base 121 speed with base 100 attack and 110 special attack. It's an absolute monster. Hurricanes hit incredibly hard. It's got a great move pool with moves such as Focus Blast, Heat Wave, Sludge Wave, Psychic, Dark Pulse. It can knock off for utility and U-turn for momentum. It can defog hazards away. It runs heavy duty boots incredibly well, Rocky Helmet and Assault Vest very well with the Regenerator ability, giving it great longevity even without stuff like Roost. And Torn, it's an absolute beast. It can come in pretty much every matchup. It can sub Nasty Plot, which is really scary. Nasty Plot 3 attacks. Assault Vest 4 attacks, but in this match I would expect a Rocky Helmet set, pretty physically defensive with some good speed on there, as it's one of his better answers to come in against Rillaboom and take some big hits, regen out, and then come in again, take another Grassy Glide or knockoff or something of the sort. That's what I would expect. If he brings something like Sub Nasty Plot, I'm ready for it. Again, Assault Vest, I'm ready for it. And I have a pretty good revenging option to an offensive set in Mega Lycanroc, so I have to play around it very carefully, of course, as Torn is a huge threat. Next up is Excadrill, a very strong Sand Sweeper. Ground Steel typing, second time going against it today. But moves like Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Slide, Poison Jab all hit incredibly hard. It can set Stealth Rocks and remove them with Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin obviously giving it a speed boost. So if he's something like a Mold Breaker, just offensive set, that could be really scary. In this match, Excadrill, probably if it comes, I would expect a Mold Breaker variant with something like Toxic. It's Toxic and Mega Cresselia. He can Earthquake from some decent damage. Iron Head maybe try to flinch me out a little bit. And obviously, unless I'm at like +3/+3, Stored Power is not doing a whole lot. Neither is Ice Beam. So Drill I could totally see coming with Mold Breaker. Next up is Tapu Fini. Rager has been shown to use Tapu Fini incredibly effectively this season. He loves setting up with Tapu Fini, and I could totally see that coming this week. Something like a Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Stored Power, Moonblast, or Scald Fini would be incredibly scary. It could one-on-one my Cresselia fairly well. However, I think another viable set that could totally come is a Hazing Tapu Fini, just a bulky pivot, something especially defensive to handle Cresselia. Scald, maybe Haze, Draining Kiss, or something like that. It's a pretty solid answer to come into Heatran as well. You can take on like, Lava Plumes and Magma Storms fairly well. It can absorb Toxics. You can defog away Stealth Rocks over set, and Taunt's not going to do a whole lot. You can threaten pretty hard with Scald, so got to be careful of Fini. Next up is Rotom Heat, a great mon, a great pivot. Fire and Electric typing with the Levitate ability. Base 86 speed, it can Nasty Plot up, which is scary. It can Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Overheat, not a great move pool, but it has the moves it really needs. It can Willow or Toxic with stuff like Hex, which can be scary, and Pain Split for some recovery and defog hazards away. Not really sure if Rotom comes this week. If I do see Rotom, that probably means that Tornadus is an offensive variant, either Nasty Plot or Assault Vest or something of the sort. Next up, Gligar, one of his better answers to Mega Lycanroc. It can take on Stone Edges and close combats fairly well thanks to its ground and flying typing. Very strong, very bulky with Eviolite. Earthquakes hit really hard. It can Roost for longevity. It can set and remove Stealth Rocks with Defog. It can U-turn out for momentum, which is spooky. And then with the immunity ability, I obviously can't Toxic it, so definitely expect Gligar this week. It's his only switch in to Mega Lycanroc, so I got to play around it, try to chip it down in the early game so that Lycanroc can do its job later. Next up is Skuntank. Skuntank, another mon that gets Haze, and probably another one of his better bets to handle Mega Cresselia. If I do see Skuntank, that probably means that Tapu Fini is a setting up variant, but I could totally see something like Foul Play with Haze, maybe something like Night Slash to try to crit through some stuff. So gotta watch out for Skuntank. He could also be like a Rocky Helmet Aftermath variant to help chip down Rillaboom, to take my Grassy Glides, or like if I had high horsepower, I could smack that thing, take a bunch from something like that. So gotta watch out for Skuntank. Next up, the first of his two Megas is Mega Poliwrath. He has Diancie on this thing, which makes it incredibly scary, very fast at base 130 speed, and some very strong offenses, a 155 and 150, I believe. So a very good mixed attacker with Magic Bounce. It obviously gets pretty frail, thanks to the drops from Diancie, however, is very, very strong. Moves like Liquidation, Close Combat, Darkest Lariat, Earthquake. He can run a special set, obviously, with something like Scald, Focus Blast, Ice Beam. But Poliwrath, very scary. I do have a pretty good revenging option, obviously, in Rillaboom, and Rillaboom can take some hits from it fairly easily, as really its only coverage to hit Rillaboom is something like Ice Punch or Ice Beam. I do have another good answer in Cresselia. Cresselia doesn't take a whole lot, even from something like Darkest Lariat. He doesn't get Sword Stance, only Bulk Up. A Bulk Up Darkest Lariat would do a decent chunk to me, but I could threaten pretty hard with something like Psychic. So Poliwrath, not really sure if it comes. His next Mega Cradilly, is very, very scary and is the Mega I expect to come this week. He has Tyranitroid on this thing, which makes it even stronger, even more bulky, and gives it Sandstream, adding extra special defense investment to this thing. It's just so bulky. It's one of his better switch-ins to Primarina. Primarina is an absolute monster in this match, and he can take on Specs, Moonblasts, and Hydro Pumps, especially pre-Mega. He does have Storm Drain, which is something I have to remember. Mega Cradilly is taking hits for days. I can run something like Ice Beam, which would hit it for a lot, but then he can switch into something like Tapu Fini. We have to start playing the Choice Specs locking game. But Cradilly, super, super good. A very reliable stealth rocker. It can recover up. Power Whips and Earthquakes hit really hard. He's been shown to run Ancient Power on this pretty consistently, which is something I have to watch out for. And just stuff like Toxic. So probably expect Mega Cradilly this week. If Poliwrath comes, I have the tools to handle it. But probably expecting Mega Cradilly. Next up is Dusknoir, very bulky and offensive ghost type. Very strong, very defensive, but very slow. Moves like Poltergeist hit really hard. Shadow Sneak, he's got the elemental punches. I believe he gets Earthquake. Not sure if Dusknoir comes. I haven't really seen it in any of his matches so far. I do have some pretty good answers to it. Next up, Stoutland, another Sand Sweeper with the Sand Rush ability. It also gets Intimidate and Scrappy, which can be scary. Moves like Facade hit really hard. Crunch, Play Rough, I believe he gets Superpower. Again, not really sure if Stoutland comes. Again, since his Mega is Cradilly, that's his Sand Setter, he doesn't have the luxury to run Smooth Rock, so Sand Sweeping isn't super viable on this team. So if Stoutland comes, probably just like Scrappy, maybe Choice Band, Life Orb. So I gotta watch out for that. And then last but not least is Duosion, an Eviolite Psychic type. It's kind of just a little baby Reuniclus, obviously. It can run stuff like either Regenerator as a pivot, or it can run Magic Guard and run dual dancing sets with Psyshock, and Recover, stuff like that. I have a pretty solid Dark type in Crocodile, so I don't think that Duosion wants to come. It just invites Crook in every single time. So with that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this match. Leading us off is Spinal Tap the Rillaboom. He's looking great with a Choice Band set this week. Grassy Glide, Knockoff, U-Turn, and Woodhammer. Max attack, max speed. With the Jolly Nature, this helps me speed type fully invested Tapu Fini if I'm locked into Woodhammer. And Spinal's looking very, very strong this week. This is obviously a great answer to come in against Tapu Fini and bonk it for some big damage. Same with Mega Poliwrath. It'll hit specially defensive Mega Cradilly incredibly hard, and Grassy Glide is so good in the late game. Knockoff is great for knocking off Gligar's. Eviolite, U-Turn for pivoting around, and then Woodhammer just for smashing stuff as hard as I can if I don't want to lock into Grassy Glide. Really need Spinal to do some good work. I need to keep it around for Mega Poliwrath. Last time I had to deal with a Mega Water type, I was like, oh yeah, Spinal can do it, and it didn't work. So I'm gonna play it better this time. Hopefully Spinal can do his job, and I gotta keep that Fini from setting up and beating me. Spinal does a great job just kind of smashing it with Woodhammer. And so if he sets up too many Iron Defenses, I'll have to be careful. I'll be chipping myself down with Recoil. Even with Grassy Surge healing me back, it'll be tough. So I gotta manage Fini with this thing. That's his primary goal. And then also revenge some stuff in the late game. Next up, Miss Quinn the Primarina coming in with a Choice Spec set. Hydro Pump, Moonblast, Ice Beam, and Flip Turn. Max Special Attack Modest. Enough speed for uninvested Rotom Heat. Hydro Pump plus Moonblast hits pretty much everything incredibly hard. Smashes stuff like Excadrill, smashes stuff like Rotom Heat and Gligar. It just dents everything. Ice Beam is there for Cradilly. Specs Ice Beam does over half to Mega Cradilly, even in Sand. And then Flip Turn is there for pivoting. I can Flip Turn out on the Cradilly if I don't want to lock into anything, especially if I'm in against something like Gligar. So I can get into another Mon to put on a bunch of pressure. So looking great. I hope Quinn can do her job. I need her to break some stuff in the early game and pivot around into stuff like Spinal. Maybe get a little bit of momentum going, because I got to stay on the front foot in this match. I can't let something like Torn or Fini or Drill get in and start going ham against me. Next up, Celine the Cresselia. Just running a light clay set this week, a little bit different. Dual screens, Moonlight, and Lunar Dance. Fully physically defensive for the most part with enough speed, again, for uninvested Rotom Heat. Celine is a great defensive check this week. It handles stuff like Sand Rushing, Excadrill very well. It handles Gligar very well. Obviously, it could be running something like Ice Beam. And it's my primary switch into Poliwrath. With the exception of Poliwrath, I can't super hit those things. And I really like my big breakers this week, so I'm running a light clay set with dual screens. he doesn't really, if he brings Defog, okay. Or if he brings Brick Break on something like Poliwrath, that's totally cool. I want to try to set up my screens and get Rillaboom and Prim the time to shine, because those guys are what's going to win me this match, I think. Moonlight is there for just longevity, and Lunar Dance is to heal up something like Prim or Spinal in the late game, so they can go ham one last time. Next up, Deep Keeper the Dragalge coming with a Black Sludge set and adaptability. Draco Meteor, Sludge Wave, Flip Turn, and Toxic Spikes. Draco plus Sludge Wave is really good in this match. I really like Sludge Wave for threatening something like Fini. Draco hits pretty much everything hard except for that Fini. Flip Turn is out. Flip Turn is there for just pivoting around. And then Toxic Spikes is really good for Tapu Fini especially. He'll be toxic by Toxic Spikes before Misty Surge gets up. So I can get a Toxic on that thing before it comes in and really stop it from doing what it does best, setting up and all that sort of stuff. Stored Power obviously will do a whole lot to me, so I'll have to switch into something else to take that thing on. But Rillaboom, especially under Light Screen, can handle that for days. I have enough speed on here for uninvested Mega Credilli and enough special defense investment so that uninvested Tornadus-Therian doesn't 3-shot me with Hurricane. So this is another good switch into Tornadus-Therian, obviously, as I am very specially bulky. And then the rest of my special attack investment just thrown in with Modest Nature, letting me hit stuff very, very hard. And then Black Sludge, therefore Recovery. Next up, Miss Murder the Lycanroc. She's coming back and she looks fantastic this match. Stone Edge Close Combat, Accelerock, and Swords Dance Max. Attack Adamant. Enough speed for something. Enough speed for Excadrill, Jolly Excadrill. And besides Gligar, this thing absolutely shreds his team. Tornadus doesn't want to take Accelerocks. Tafini, if he's fully physically defensive, Stone Edge will do a little bit under half, but Drill outside of stand is getting clocked by close combat. Rotom doesn't want to take Stone Edges or Accelerocks. Skunk Tank doesn't want to take close combats. Poliwhirl doesn't want to take Accelerocks with some chip. Berdilli doesn't want to take close combats, especially if he's specially invested. This thing just macerates his entire team, bar Gligar. That's the big key. Bar Gligar. I gotta take out that Gligar. I gotta remove its Eviolite or something. Chip it down so that Miss Murder can come in and do her job in the late game. And primarily, this is my job, main response to Tornadus being offensive. If he's sub Nasty Plot, I gotta get that sub out of the way because I need Miss Murder around. So you'll see my next Mon has a decent response to sub, and hopefully Spinal can break sub with Grassy Glide if he's invested in special attack. Last but not least, we got Aurora the Komala coming with a leftover set this week. Rapid Spin, U-Turn, Wish, and Protect. Max HP, enough special defense investment to take on Tapu Fini very well, and then enough defense investment so that Earthquake from Gligar isn't 4-shotting me, I believe, or maybe it's 3-shot. Something like that, and then the rest just thrown into attack. Rapid Spin is just there for getting rid of any hazards set by something like Gligar or Excadrill or Credilli. U-Turn is there so I can switch into Tapu Fini with my Comatose ability. If terrain is gone, I won't be getting Scald Burned or anything like that. I can eat Moonblasts up comfortably and then U-turn into something else like Spinal and get the slow pivot. Wish obviously works in conjunction with U-turn to heal up something like Spinal or Prim, and then Protect is there so I can heal up myself in conjunction with my leftovers. So I'm really liking Aurora this match. I haven't used Wish Komala before. It looked pretty cool. I needed a 4th member. And Flavia has been getting all the attention in my low tier slot. So I want some love for Aurora. I'm still waiting for when I can use Sleep Talk Last Resort, but for now, we're going to be rocking with it, just a defensive set. So, with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Alrighty, guys, we're about to hop into this quarterfinals matchup against RagerBonsai and the San Jose Sharpedos. You can see the 6 I expect them to bring up on the screen. Tornadus-Therian, Tapu Fini, Excadrill, Gligar, Skunk Tank, and that Mega Credilli. You can see the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. If you haven't, go check out the Teambuilder. Well, with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Okay, we do see Rotom and Stoutland. No Skunk Tank is cool. And no Gligar is incredibly interesting. I'm totally cool with that, though. Because literally everything on this team gets absolutely bodied by Mega Lycanroc. So, we see Stoutland. We see Rotom. I'll just have to play around Sand a little bit, but Grassy Glide is looking great. So realistically, he could lead Rotom Heat just because it's a good pivot. Same with Rotom. He could also lead that Mega Credilli to set Sand. But I need to play Lycanroc perfectly because this thing, it literally just destroys everything on his team bar Tapu Fini. So I could lead Quinn. That's not a terrible lead. I could also lead Aurora. It matches up pretty well against Rotom and Torn. I can scout what he's going to do. I could also lead Keeper. I could threaten pretty hard with a Draco or a Sludge Wave. I can flip turn out. I think I'm going to do that. I like my Keeper play. If he leads Credilli, then that's fine. I can go into something like Quinn or Celine. But I think I like leading Keeper. Let's do that. Really? Makes sense. So a Sludge Wave, not going to do a whole lot. I could set up some Toxic Spikes, which would be pretty cool for Fini. I think that's what I want to do. If he Earthquakes or something of the sort, that would hurt me. But I can scout some investment on this thing. If he were to go for something like Earthquake, he's probably just going to set some Stealth Rocks here. Earthquake would tickle, but I don't. He hasn't been running that. I could also go into Spinal. That's a pretty aggressive play. But realistically, Toxic Spikes really only help me against this thing and Fini. So I'm going to go into Celine and see what he wants to do. He's probably just going to set his rocks. Because it's fine. Maybe he goes for Earth Power. Okay. Well, I made the right play. Earth Power wouldn't have hurt nearly as much. He's probably going to set his rocks here. He has to be scared of Mega Celine, obviously. So I'm just going to set up a nice little light screen. Get my screen game going. There's the rocks. And now I'm going to set my Reflect. Now, hopefully he doesn't have... If he has Defog on that Rotom or the Fini, that's okay. He'd have to get rid of his rocks and his terrain if that were to be on Fini. So, just also off a nice little Reflect here. Give me some turns of shenanigans to do some stuff with Rillaboom and Primarina. Because the name of this game is breaking this team so that Lycan Raccoon. Drill comes in, totally cool with that. Set up my Reflect. This thing does get horsepower. Poison Jab would hurt Rillaboom pretty hard. So, but Rillaboom is fairly naturally bulky. I have a Reflect and a Light Screen up. Let's see how much Excadrill is doing to Rillaboom with like a Banded Iron Head. Iron Head, if he's like non-boosted, doesn't do a whole lot. It also doesn't do a whole lot to me. I mean, I'm Levitate. If he wants to go for like Toxic right now, that's okay. Let's see how much he's gonna do to Quinn with something. Earthquake tickles Quinn quite a bit. I don't want to do that. I think my play is Spinal. If he Iron Heads and I can set some investment, I can Grassy Glide pretty freely. So let's go into Spinal and see what he's gonna do. Take some rocks. That's okay. I'm gonna get my terrain up. He goes for X Scissor. Okay, 38. He's Life Orb. I did not know X Scissor was a move that this thing got. Well, I'm just gonna go for. If he stays in and goes for it again, that'd be pretty bad. Oh, Celine is gonna eat that for days though. He's Life Orb though. X Scissor. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean X Scissor doesn't do anything to Celine. I could also try to be aggressive and go into Quinn. That's not a good idea though. And realistically, how much does... I mean, Grassy Glide has a chance to kill this thing, so I'm just going to click that. He goes hard to Rotom, it's fine. That does a good chunk. He's not Helmet. I'm just going to go hard into Deep Keeper. He's either going to trick me at Choice Scarf, which would be bad, or he's just going to... He could Defog, he could Pain Split. That's defensive. He's fully physically defensive. Or he's fairly defensive with some speed. If I were to guess, he's not bold. Or he's max. Horn comes out. That's fine. I'm sitting behind Light Screen here. I could set up some Toxic Spikes. Alright, if he starts setting up, that's not the end of the world. I'm just going to flip turn here. I'll get the slow pivot on Torn. I can get into Murder fairly easily. I can't imagine he stays in here. He probably just U-turns out. He's going to knock off my Black Sludge. That's fine. I'm going to flip turn out. And this is going to get me into Quinn. And I have a fairly safe Moonblast here. So let's do that. Let's get into Quinn, click Moonblast. I'm still sitting behind Light Screen. If he's got Sludge Wave, it won't do a whole lot. He doesn't really have anything that wants to take this, so let's click the move. He has to be wary of Ice Beam, obviously. So, I mean, Credilli, click Ice Beam? No, because Fini's sitting there, so Ice Beam is a little too obvious. I'm going to click Moonblast, see what he does. He's going to knock off my specs. That's fine. Moonblast is still going to dent this thing. 39. Yeah. He's going to switch out this time, I bet. I'm going to flip turn. There's no way he stays in for another one of those. Losing my specs on Quinn isn't the end of the world, especially because Gligar is not there. I don't need to like severely rip through anything. There's the U-turn. Totally cool with that. He's going to regen out, but I'm going to get the slow pivot. That Cordilli probably comes in, so I want to see how much this Murder's going to do that thing. Yeah, here comes Cordilli. No Storm Drain anymore. Tyranitrite. Close combat murders it. And realistically, I think I'm out of light screen, which is bad, but let's see how much. Let's see, that flip turn did 10. Yeah, he's specially defensive. Okay. Rilla doesn't do enough. Murders my play 100%. He's probably just going to go into that Fini, but I can at least dent it a little bit. I could also go out back into Celine and set some screens back up. I like that play. I can also go into Aurora and Rapid Spin, but he can set back up. So I'm going to go into Celine. This thing shouldn't be able to touch me. I can set my screens back up for another couple turns and reset my scenario. I like that the best. Let's light screen here. I didn't think about Sand with Moonlight. It's going to make that a little bit more difficult. He can Toxic me. He can go for Giga Drain. There's Giga Drain. It literally does nothing. I'm going to set my Reflect back up. Burn a couple turns of Sand. But I need to chip some... Corn comes back out. Cool. I'm going to go into... He can knock off. If he knocks off Aurora's Assault Vest, I'm not super upset with that. And I want to try to Rapid Spin these rocks away. I can also Wish into Cress. Oh, my leftovers. I'm not Assault Vest. I'm just going to Rapid Spin. Try to get these Rockies out of here. And then I'll toss off a Wish. Unless Drill comes out. Drill, then I'll go hard back into something. Or, yeah, I don't really... I gotta go into Celine, because... I mean, X-Scissor won't really hurt Celine by that point. Sand will be gone, so I can do that fairly easily. He's gonna U-turn. Totally okay with that. I'm just gonna get these Rockies out of here. He goes into Fini. Cool with that. Rapid Spin those away. And I'm going to toss off a Wish. Now, if he goes for Iron Defense now, I gotta make sure I can get into Spinal straight away. So, let's play as smart. Tapu Fini. So, my Rapid Spin did 15%. So, that looks like he's got bulk. At least a decent chunk. Rilla thrashes that thing to the next dimension. If he's at +2 when I come in, Woodhammer still does a butt ton, and Moonblast isn't doing anything. So I'm going to try to Wish into Rilla. He's going to go for Nature's Madness. Okay. I'm going to Protect. I'm going to try to get Aurora some health back. Seeing Nature's Madness is good. It means he's not a setup set, most likely. Or he's like dual dance Nature's Madness stored power. But that's kind of spooky. So let's go for a Protect here. Keep Aurora healthy as well. Billy comes out. That's fine. He can set his rocks up again, but I'm just going to toss off another Wish. I can U-turn out afterwards. Giga Drain and Earth Power won't do much to me. If he Toxics me, that's fine. But I can frankly just U-turn right back out into Cress. So he's going to toss off a Wish. I still have my Reflect up. I'm going to get back into Crest and heal that thing up for some good chunk, because X-Scissor won't do anything to me unless he crits me. If he crits me, I'll be incredibly sad. But this is, again, another opportunity for me to keep my screens up and just kind of play this game. I got to do something, though. Because frankly, right now, I'm not doing a whole lot. High horsepower. How'd that hit me? Alright, he's Mold Breaker. Yeah. Well, I'm dumb. Well, I mean, I would expect him to be Sand Rush, but he's Breaker, so, okay. Light screen comes back up. Well, that means that I can click close combat against this thing fairly easily, or just get into Spinal. So I'm going to go into Keeper. I think it's less valuable than Aurora. Yeah, X-Scissor, that's fine. He can horsepower now, and I'm okay with that. I could also try to get into Spinal, but that's risky, and I need Spinal to break Fini. So I'm going to stay in here and click Flip Turn on the off chance he overpredicts. Alright, horsepower, fine. And into Spinal we go. But this is going to dent something. If I kill Drill, cool. Rotom doesn't want to take 2 of these, most likely. Torn, if he's offensive, doesn't want to take 2. But this is a pretty good opportunity for Spinal to click the funny move. Losing Dragalge is pretty... Okay, Cordilli comes back out. Let's see how much this guy takes. 45. I'm gonna... Yeah, okay, I can't kill that thing. I'm gonna go into Celine. One comes out. Losing my Light Clay. You could also U-turn. I don't want to Lunar Dance yet. But Reflect is... How much do I care about Reflect? I think I just want to keep... I want to Moonlight up so I can handle that Excadrill. But this is... I won't get anything, and I'll just get chipped down from whatever this is, and... I'm going to go into Aurora. I don't really need it. I'm still under Light Screen. If he knocks off, then cool. I don't have anything to lose. And I'm just going to toss off another Wish. That was the right play. I didn't want to lose my Light Clay there, and I want to be able to preserve Celine. That wasn't the situation in which I wanted to click. Healing Wish. U-turn. Okay. Billy comes out. And I'm going to U-turn into Cresselia. He's going to recover, that's fine. I'm going to get a nice little Wish from my girl Aurora, and I'm going to Moonlight up just to get back to full. And then I could try to start some shenanigans with the screens again. But I got to get Murder in safely. If he Toxics, that's fine. He's going to set his rocks again. Okay. I'm going to Reflect. Fini comes out. I'm going to... I'm going to Light Screen, Nature's Madness. Okay. I'm going to click Moonlight. He's got a knockoff on this thing too. Okay. I'm going to go into Aurora, try to sack that off to get back into Spinal. And then this time on Spinal, I'm going to click Woodhammer. Nature's Madness. Okay. I'll Rapid Spin to try to get the rocks away, I guess. Alright, he's got Moonblast too. So his last move must be Haze. But I'm going to go into Spinal. Because Cordilli definitely doesn't take 2 Woodhammers. I'm going to take a lot of recoil, though. He's at 93. He's going to get Grassy Surge recovery, though. This thing's Fizz Def. That's another thing I have to keep in mind. Primarina would send this thing for a ride, I think. Like, Moonblast would junk it. Oh, I lost my specs, never mind. Well, Spinal's coming in. And I'm going to click Woodhammer. And I'm going to try to clock something, because I am losing. This is not going well. One comes out. Oh, come on! Depending on what set he is... Now, he's got no investment. What is he? He's like naive, I guess. I don't understand how that did so little, but... or how they did so much, but I'm gonna go into. He's probably just gonna U-turn. I'm gonna go into Quinn and try to put on some pressure. He goes into Cordilli. He's got Giga Drain on this. And I'm gonna go into Celine and Lunar Dance into Spinal. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna flip turn into Celine. Set some screens again and then Lunar Dance. Because Spinal is dying. Spinal is dying very fast, and I need him around. Giga Drain. Okay. Set Reflect. Set Light Screen. Lunar Dance. That's my plan. He doesn't have Taunt. If he does, it's on Fini or Torrent. He hasn't shown it yet. If he had Taunt, he would have clicked it probably 30 turns ago. So Fini comes out. That's fine. There's Reflect. There's Light Screen. He's going to Nature's Madness here probably, but I doubt Nature's Madness into knockoff kills me. I have a little bit of speed on this, so hopefully he's not speed invested and I can get these off. He Moon Blasts. That's fine. Light Screen. And hopefully I can get this off. Please live this Moon Blast. Pretty please. If I don't get this off, I'm in trouble. That did a lot. Alright, he's just gonna go straight into Rotom. That's fine. I get my Lunar Dance off. Spinal's gonna get back up to full. I'm gonna take rocks afterwards though. And the question is, does Woodhammer kill this thing? Because he can overheat. That was a really good double into Rotom because that Lunar Dance was really obvious, and I had to go into Spinal so as to not waste the Lunar Dance. Is that how Lunar Dance works? It's not. I could have gone into Murder there. I'm so stupid. Well, yikers, man. That's not what you want to see. Me being super stupid. Because as much of a champ as Murder is, she doesn't have enough firepower to kill that Fini from this range unless I get a Swords Dance up, because he was pretty invested. However, alright, he's a bulky pivoting set. He could totally Willow me here. I mean, if he overheats, it's not doing a whole lot just because I am bulky, so I'm going to U-turn into Quinn and hope to God he clicks Will-O-Wisp. Oh, no, he's really fast. He's fully invested. Okay, well, I calced something very wrong. This is my opportunity to set up a Sword Dance. I'm going to have to try to click multiple Sword Dances here. It's going to depend on how much Stoutland takes from Accelerock. Alright, well, Murder is sitting here at +2. A +2 Accelerock. I'm going to need to get to +4 in order for it to kill. The big question that is on everyone's mind is, can I live a high horsepower from a Life Orb Excadrill? Oh, I don't have Reflect? Oh, no, I can't. Lamau. I've seen leftovers on this thing, right? Oh, yeah, I've seen Life Orb. So EQ would totally threat. I have no Reflect. High horsepower totally kills me. I have to click CC. Alright, well, I'm going to need an absolute prayer here because I totally threw because I forgot how Lunar Dance worked. That's my own fault. This Stone Edge should kill Fini. I just got to hit it. Stone Edge! Well, I'm going to go into... I'm going to go into Rilla. I'm going to click U-turn. Yeah, Cordilli comes out. This is going to bonk Cordilli at least, and it'll get me into Quinn. Hopefully Ice Beam does a decent chunk. I don't think it does, but... I mean, Rilla dies on entry now. That was a stupid move. Well... I'm going to lose playoffs because I missed a Stone Edge roll, but... Freeze him. No. I'm really sad. That's not how I want it to go out. Freeze. No. No, he's gonna die that still close. If that Stoutland was Sandrush, it was still the matter of killing Stoutland. But 80% of the time I had a chance. 80% of the time I had a chance. I'm speechless. Again, that Lunar Dance play was silly. Stoutland I could have handled, I think. You know what? It's the game we play. No hate to Bonsai. It's not his fault. He didn't scum me or anything. Miss Murder just forgot to put on her glasses, so GG's to Bonsai. GG's to everyone else who's been in the MMDL. Good luck to Bonsai as he continues through the playoffs. And all the other guys who are still in this, Zug and Adam, and I think Unknown is the last guy who's still in this. So this has been a great season. Really stoked to be in this. We got a 6th season coming up next for you guys out there in internet world. We got Sketchmons coming up. It's going to be super hype. I got some things cooking in the old cauldron up here, so be sure to check back soon for some Sketchmons hype. We still will have ISL playoffs going on next week. We have the UBL progressing, and then coming soon, at long last, my league, Showdown Draft Federation, Season 5, making its YouTube debut with your boy. We'll have some draft breakdowns. Hopefully I'll have some shenanigans planned with the fellas for that. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Happy Father's Day.